Okay, welcome everybody to Tuesday's Women's Empowerment Call. It is, let me have a look at the date today. It is May the 7th. So if you are watching this recording back, 2019, I'm Kira Westwick, and I am just so excited to bring this community together every single week with new topics that help empower you to step into your greatness, into your potential. I read a really great quote today. Actually, I listened to it on a podcast at the gym this morning, and that was experiencing joy. Wait, I'm totally going to say it wrong unless I bring it up. You know, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about today is how to live a happy life and how to take responsibility for your happiness, that it is a choice every single day. So happiness is the joy you feel when you're moving towards your potential. And I just thought there is so much truth to that, because when I look at the years where I felt, uninspired in my life, not necessarily unhappy, but uninspired, unfulfilled, it was because I was stagnant. I wasn't moving forward towards my potential. I wasn't growing. And if you're not growing, then you're uninspired, because if you're not growing, then what is the opposite of that? You are dying. So either you are getting better or you are sliding backwards. And to really truly feel fulfillment and happiness in your life, I believe we need to be growing towards our potential. And that's what this weekly call is about. We cover different topics that help you to step into that potential so that you can live your most fulfilled life ever. And I'm really excited to share today's topic, because I'm going to be sharing my story to start with on how I went from a very sick, depressed, and anxious young woman in my 20s to finding my passion and purpose in life and living with health and vitality and energy and choosing happiness and training my brain for happiness, and how to move through things like anxiety and stress and the things that many of us feel overwhelmed, lack of self-love, lack of self-worth, all of these things that have a dramatic impact on how we show up every day and how we think and feel about ourselves and how we interact with the world around us. So just to let you guys know, if you go into the comments or the description, you can join our Empowered Women's group, which is an open community group where we really share lots of thoughts throughout the week and cover more topics. So you want to be in that group so you can continually be inspired. And then also please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please share this if it resonates with you, because the more we get the word out there, the more we can get incredible coaches and mentors to come on and share their wisdom with you. And I have an amazing doctor lined up for you guys next week that I know is going to be incredibly impactful. It was one of Dr. Nima's friends, and he is a medical doctor, and he is extremely experienced in the treatment of anxiety, but not in the way that you think. So it really, I think all mothers, all women, whether you experience anxiety every single day or just when you're stressed and feeling overwhelmed, whether you're on medication, not on medication, I think this is a topic that we can all resonate and get immense value from, okay? And it's going to be the perfect lead in today's topic for him to come and chat to us next week, because today is all about self-responsibility and some daily habits to set yourself up for success. All right, so please interact with me and communicate with me in the comments so that I know that I'm on the right track. If you have any questions around what I'm speaking about, then please put it in the comments. Now, some of the things I say today may trigger you. If they trigger you, then I invite you to go in and have a deeper look and ask yourself, what is your truth? Anything I share today, I am an expert in my own story. You are an expert in your own story. I'm sharing my truth and my wisdom, and that may resonate with you. It may not, okay? But I invite you to take a think and ask yourself, is this a truth that resonates with you? Is this something that can empower you the way that it has empowered me? And secondly, your health, your body, your mind is your responsibility. You are in control. You always have been in control. And if you want a brighter, happier, healthier future, it is the power is in your hands to create that. No matter what your starting point is, no matter what your past is, you are the director of your future. So when it comes to your health, no doctor, no natural health doctor, there is no one on this planet that is more of an expert and more responsible for it than you are. So although we need the helping hand of experts in our life from time to time, we still must take responsibility. And I'm going to share a little bit more why this is so important by sharing my own story. So let's get started. Let's start with that. So in my early 20s, I was a very, very healthy and active child, and I never missed a day of school. Like, I used to get awards for not having days off school. So and I played lots of sport. I was energetic. I was happy. I was confident. And my memories of childhood were magic. I didn't really, have any scars or wounds. And in my early 20s, I became very unwell. And it was a slow progression, something that crept up on me. And it's almost like I started to feel like a hypochondriac, because I just knew something wasn't right with me. And it was just this slide downhill. And I kept going to the doctors, searching for answers. And once again, I had the utmost respect for doctors when we need them, but they study disease. They do not study health. And so when there's not a specific ailment that they can put their finger on, that they haven't studied, that they don't have a medication for, it's not their area of expertise. So they put me on course after course of antibiotics, which in hindsight and after my own research, when I finally took responsibility, because this is one of my things, don't ever take a pill that is prescribed for you without researching and knowing what it is, knowing what the consequences are, and making a judgment of whether that pill is going to aid your recovery or impact it. Because in hindsight, the antibiotics that I was given, not only were they unnecessary because I didn't have something that needed to be treated with them, but they also created an environment that was more conducive to illness. Because what I was suffering from was one of the main things, there was several things, but one of the main things that I was suffering from, and I think most people in the world, in Western societies, have this today, and that was a problem with candida overgrowth in my system. And that doesn't have to represent as the usual symptoms that women know that they go and treat, from a pharmacy with their creams. It doesn't have to present as that for you to have a candida issue within your body. With the diets that we have today, most people suffer from this because the diets we eat fuel bad bacteria growth in our system. Too many grains, too many sugars, too many refined carbohydrates. The bad bacteria in your body thrive off of this. And rather than feeding the good bacteria, you feed the bad, and it overruns your system. And so when you put antibiotics on top of that course after course, because they don't know what else to do, you keep going to the doctor, you don't feel well, that's the only answer they have, and you don't take responsibility and you just follow their lead. What happened after 2 years of this, I got so sick that I couldn't stand for more than a few minutes at a time. I felt like I was dying. It was like the light in me was slowly being turned out, and I felt so desperate at that point. And that's when common sense kicked in. That's when I was so sick of being sick and tired that I started to do my own research. And thankfully, this is when the internet, and I know everyone laughs about Dr. Google and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Thank God that we have a place to go to where we can at least research all sides of things and really get a clearer picture and understanding. And not to say that you should take that Google's advice over a doctor's advice. What I'm saying is it's important to educate yourself on your own body and your own health if you want to experience a healthy, fulfilling life. And so it was common sense in a matter of in 1 day of research, I had this massive awakening that it was my lifestyle choices that were making me ill. And that there wasn't going to be answers in the doctor's office because they're not taught to treat you to change your lifestyle choices. I was sick because I was eating copious amounts of sugar every single day. And it's a vicious cycle. When you're down and depressed, when you're not happy, you reach for sugar. When you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria in your system, that bad bacteria feeds off sugar. It fuels your addiction. You have these cravings like little monsters inside of you. And I just remember being so insatiable. I just needed more and more sugar all the time. And so the only way I was going to heal my body was by changing those lifestyle choices. So I went cold turkey on sugar. The other thing that was happening in my life is chronic stress. I had, and many of you might be surprised to know this, but I got married in my 20s, and within a matter of months, that marriage was over, and I had moved to the Gold Coast. All of these lifestyle catastrophes happened in a very short space of time, and the stress in my system of that also impacted my immune system. And then the other thing, which I'm going to talk about today, is I hated my job. I wasn't happy in my relationships. I wasn't happy in my work environment. And this chronic depression and stress every day was also impacting my immune system. So you have these three things happening: stress, lack of passion and fulfillment, and the wrong diet. This is why so many people are experiencing things like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, just not knowing what's wrong with them, but knowing that something isn't right. Anxiety, depression. I believe that, these things for many people, I'm not saying everyone, but for many people, these are actually the fuel that is creating those situations in their life, those feelings, or, that disease. One of the other things I just want to say about the bad bacteria is they're living organisms. And so they have waste, byproduct, which they just empty into your bloodstream. And it's incredibly toxic. And it's actually it's not the bad bacteria, it's the waste from the bad bacteria that enters your bloodstream that is incredibly toxic and damages the nervous system, creates things like fibromyalgia. So, to this day, if I'm eating too much sugar, like after Easter, I indulged in Easter eggs. For the next week, my joints were aching from that. Sugar impacts the immune system incredibly. Like 1 teaspoon of sugar can lower the immune system for 6 hours. And we eat this stuff all day, every day. Our kids start with it for breakfast in their breakfast cereal, their Milo, their white toast. It's just laden in absolutely everything, and it's so damaging to our immune system and our nervous system. So long story short, and if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to say that I'm an expert. I'm here to say empower yourself. Please don't message me and ask me for my long list of what you should do. You have a keyboard, you have the ability to read a book. There are incredible books that I read by natural health doctors on healing chronic fatigue. I healed my body within 3 months when I went back to, healthy lifestyle choices, and when I cleaned up my environment, and when I changed the things that were making me unhappy in my life. And I was back to my old self. So if I'm feeling like I was dying, and I hand on my heart know that if I didn't make those changes, I would have ended up with a very serious autoimmune condition. If they test my blood today, I have autoimmune markers in my blood, meaning that I'm susceptible to it and have experienced damages in that way in the past, which was that time in my life. So if I had continued that lifestyle, which most people are living every single day, and then they wonder why they end up with some kind of severe autoimmune or some kind of disease that impacts their life dramatically. And the crazy thing is, and I know we're not taught this, so this might trigger you, so I'm not blaming you, but the crazy thing is we are responsible. We create it. We are the author of our own health or our disease. We are the author. It's our choices that we make every single day. And that's what I want to empower you around today. So that led me to my lifelong passion. I am grateful. I'm so deeply grateful for that lesson, because I have never felt better and more energized than I do today. And if I hadn't have been through that adversity, I wouldn't be living the life I am today. And I tried so many things in the workforce. I studied so many different things. I did so many different jobs trying to find fulfillment and happiness. And it was when I entered the health industry, because I realized how many people needed this information, and I became so passionate about that. I kept running into women who had no drive, no inspiration, that constantly felt unwell, who had all of the symptoms that I had experienced. I found them all around me. And I became so passionate about sharing this wisdom with them. And that's why I entered the health industry at that stage. And now I live with happiness and passion every day, which obviously impacts my health and wellness as well. So in a nutshell, that is my story. So now what I want to do is go through all of the changes I've made over the past 15 years since that experience, not just in the kitchen, but mentally, emotionally, how to set yourself up for success. I want to talk a little bit about postnatal depletion. I've got a few things that I want to cover here. So once again, just let me know in the comments if you guys have questions around anything that comes up. If I don't see them, then I'll come back and answer them later. Okay, so do you guys feel like this is relevant? Is this stuff that you guys want to know about? Also, please communicate with me on that. Okay, so food is one of the supreme influences on our health, and we are responsible for what we choose to eat every single day and how this makes us feel. You know, it's so crazy. We know that cigarette smoke, for example, right? If we spend our life smoking, we know that that increases our risk of lung cancer. But the same goes for processed food. If we eat processed food all through our life, we're increasing our risk of disease and sickness, you know, in the short term, and you know, greater diseases over the long term. Now, the crazy thing is, imagine if you came home and you saw one of your children smoking, right? You would never in a million years think, oh, it's just a treat. I'll let him have one cigarette because he's just having a treat. It's okay. And I'll give him a cigarette in his lunchbox tomorrow because that's just going to be a little treat. And actually every day in his lunchbox, I'm just going to give him one cigarette because it's just a little treat, right? Junk food, processed food is the same thing. It's crazy. And not to say that I don't, right? I'm going to put my hand up as guilty, but I try and remind myself of this. Is we think, you know, McDonald's and lollipops and, you know, the thing that challenges me the most is soft drink and cordial. You know, why are we teaching our children that they need to flavor their liquid, their water that they need for health and vitality? We're training them from a young age that, you know, you can't possibly enjoy water. You must flavor it with sugar and additives and all these things that are toxic. But we think, oh, just one treat will be fine. And we do that every day. But at the same time as the cigarette, it's also leading towards disease in the future. And so it's about taking responsibility for this. And this may trigger, and this is certainly not to cause guilt because we all do it, right? We do it to ourselves, we do it to our children. But we have to ask ourselves, is this really loving myself? When I'm truly in self-love, I choose to make good choices because I love my body, not because I hate it. I don't exercise because I hate my body. I exercise because I love my body, because I want to fuel the best version of me. You know, and this is another thing. I think the reason why I experienced, you know, my body attacking itself is because I had so many self-hate thoughts every single day, and energetically hating your body is going to attack itself. I had this aha moment in a meditation. And so when you work on your self-love, you do things because you love your body. It's a very different energy and vibration in your system that is more conducive to health and vitality. You know, so whether it's for our children or for ourselves, we want to make good choices out of love. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, you know, are those junk food options, you know, is that really love? And you know, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to kill the joy in life. It's because we do need to take responsibility, because as consumers, we are the reason why these foods are available with the toxic chemicals they have inside them. Because if we voted with our dollar and we stopped paying for them and stopped buying them, then they wouldn't exist. Because, you know, I managed to make healthy versions of everything in my kitchen that don't have preservatives and toxins in them. You go to the health food shop, there's healthier options of the same foods. But we keep buying the ones in the supermarket that have the preservatives and the chemicals and the colors and the sugar and the things that impact our system. We have to take responsibility and educate ourselves, because the companies and food corporations and governments are not going to do it for us. They care about money. They do not care about your future health. Okay, so you have to step up and take responsibility for this. If you want to have good energy in your life, then you've got to show up with great energy to have a fulfilling life. So I want to talk about that too. Actually, what I might do, if you guys want, I want to go into some of our tips from our program. And this is why I wrote our Juicy Body Transformation program, because I want to help families build healthy food cultures in their home. I want them to be passionate about, making time in their day to think consciously and thoughtfully about the kind of foods they're going to fuel their family with, whether that's and hopefully that's done as a family, that it's not just the mother taking that responsibility, that we pass that gift of thoughtfulness on to every member of our family. And so, I really just wanted to kind of quickly take you through the foundation of our philosophy. And I truly believe that with our program, people will never have to diet again, and they can come back to just that ease, grace, and flow that a healthy lifestyle should be about. Because everyone is so confused about what's healthy and what's not, because the companies are misleading us every single day with their false advertising claims so that we buy their crappy products that are full of toxic ingredients. Okay, and so we need to just come back to real food, Mother Nature, whole food ingredients. Get passionate again about making the time in our day, because we find the time for the things that we value. And if part of creating a healthy food culture in the home is making the time to prepare the food yourself, because when you prepare it yourself, you know what's in it. You can eat anything you want. You can eat hamburgers every night if you want to, if you're preparing it yourself with whole food ingredients. And then you can bring the family together. This is a time of connection. Another incredible quote that I got off the podcast today that I wanted to share with you. And as I said, we're going to go into the mental side of this, but where is it? Sorry, guys. So who would agree that energy is very influential? And so for some families or some children, they're genetically predisposed to being a pessimist by default, right? Or some of you are predisposed to be an optimist, right? Because maybe that's the mindset of your family. So how cool is this? Having a genetically pessimist default child, getting them to express 3 things that they're grateful for around the dinner table every day can transform them into a lifelong optimist. Does that not give you chills? Imagine the gift. Like, what an incredible gift to give our children, to help rewire their thinking for optimism, to see the gratitude in each day, to see the magic, children intrinsically look for magic in life, but we drum it out of them. We teach them to look for the negatives because we're so freaking negative, right? They catch our energy. So if we can implement these practices with them around the dinner table, because our healthy food culture requires us to turn the TV off, to be present with our family, to put our phones away, to put time and energy into preparing a nourishing meal. And this is the time we enjoy together, and that we set ourselves up, we set our children up for success to look at the world in a positive frame of mind by doing simple practices each night. We're fueling our brain for good thoughts, because you can't have happy thoughts if you're not eating the right compounds to create the right hormones for you to even produce happy thoughts, right? So we're facilitating that by providing whole food, not processed, packaged, frozen food, but whole food. And then we're also having mindfulness practices at the same time so that we're training our mind for success. What a gift to give our family, right? And you get to train yourself at the same time. I'm growing as a person because of who I want to be as a mother. A lot of the practices that I do is because I want to set my kids up for success. I show up the way I do more than anything for them, more than my love for myself. It's my love for them. right? So if that's your catalyst for now to create these changes, then totally use that, okay? Use your kids as the reason. Okay, so that's what I was going to do. I was going to go through our philosophy. Okay, so first of all, you've got to set realistic expectations. Let's just say you're at square one now. You're like, okay, this is resonating with me. I've got no energy. I'm a mother that is, you know, exhausted. I put my kids before myself. I'm feeling anxious, depressed. I'm sick of being this way. Hopefully, and this is the other thing, you know, some people want to be a victim. They love their labels. I have anxiety. I have depression. You know, you may very well have those things, but I would encourage you to stop labeling yourself and being a victim to that. Empower yourself that you can create change, that you can heal yourself, and you can, you know, that you are in power. You have the power within you to do that. Okay. So if this is you in square one and you want to get better, the first thing is, you know, to set realistic expectations. Diets fail because they're all about dramatic overnight changes, and we just don't have the willpower to sustain that as human beings biologically, okay? Too many shifts at once, it's overwhelming. We're already overwhelmed. We're already stressed. You want to create change with ease, grace, and flow, okay? And that's where our program helps support people around that. You want to get off the diet roller coaster for good, okay? You don't have the willpower to sustain a diet that has deprivation in it longer than maybe 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks is, you know, would be actually the high end of how long someone has the willpower. So make the commitment to never diet again. Now, when you have a healthy lifestyle, there are birthdays where you eat chocolate cake. There are nights out with friends where you have a few cocktails and you have dessert, okay? A healthy lifestyle has balance, and you can do those things without guilting yourself and without telling yourself you failed at something. And this, you know, comes into the next point that I'm going to talk about, is focusing on what you choose to do. Because when you crowd out the bad stuff, when I've spent my week nourishing my body because I want to feel healthy and vital, life is too short not to get the juice out of every single day. Why do I want to feel shit every single day, right? Do you really think that eating dead processed food is worth feeling crap every single day? It's just not worth it, right? So I choose to nourish my body because I like how I'm showing up energetically and vibrantly, okay? So I crowd the bad stuff out. When I focus on what I choose to do, there's not much room for the bad stuff. When I have chocolate cake or my bit of chocolate every single day, I don't feel guilty because I know that I've eaten the majority of goodness and whole food in my day. And I'm not compelled to eat a whole block of chocolate because I don't feel like it, because I'm satiated. I'm full of good food. I'm not empty. I'm not craving. You know, I'm not in this crappy craving cycle. I'm having a little bit for enjoyment to nourish my soul, because nourishing the soul is just as important as the body, but it doesn't require a whole block of chocolate to nourish the soul when you're nourishing your body and filling yourself up with goodness. So rather than imposing rules and deprivation and diets, promise yourself you'll get off the roller coaster for good, and instead focus on healthy choices every day. Think of your health like a bank account. Make more healthy deposits than unhealthy withdrawals, okay? If you're making more healthy deposits and only a couple withdrawals a day, then you're going to be on the healthier side, right? You're going to be experiencing more energy than you're going to be experiencing lows. Does that make sense? So whenever you say to yourself, I must or I should eat healthy today, right? It's not an empowering statement, okay? So I'll give you an example. This is out of our program, by the way, these tips. But, you know, if you say to yourself, oh, I can't eat chocolate because I'm on a diet, I want to rebel immediately. It makes me feel crap. It makes me feel deprived, right? It makes me feel not in control of my own life. Versus I choose to eat lots of veggies every day and have a green smoothie because it makes me feel so healthy and vital. Focus on what you want to do. When you keep telling yourself, I can't, all your brain hears is chocolate, 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 right? And it fuels the obsession. Do you want to focus on what you're going to do instead? And you will crowd out the bad stuff without even trying, okay? So example, have a green smoothie every single day. Bridge the gap in your nutrition by doing that. You know, have your Juice Plus capsules, which is my supplement of choice. Make sure that you have veggies with every single meal, including breakfast. When you fill up on the good stuff, you won't feel like so much of the bad stuff. Inspiration will fuel your success. Inspiration is the internal fire that drives you towards your goals. I love this statement by Dr. John Demartini. If you constantly have to get focused, oh, I have to diet again. I'm going to start my diet on Monday. Oh, I messed that up. I'm going to get focused on Friday, right? If you have to constantly get focused, then your desired actions, so the diet, is not congruent with what you truly value in life. So you don't value the results of the diet for whatever reason compared to something else, okay? When your desired actions are congruent, no one has to get you focused. You're automatically inspired to do what is most important. Imperatives like should are signs of outside authorities. Oh, I should be on a diet because society says I should look this way, right? And that doesn't reflect inside dreams. You are inspired when you are true to your highest values, and you require outside motivation when you are not. Okay, so my personal inspiration to eat healthy is because I nearly freaking died from not. So do you think I have an internal fire that fuels my inspiration to eat healthy now? 100%. When you link how crap you feel every day with I'm making shitty choices and that's why I feel shitty, right? When you make that connection, we're disconnected, right? Society has done a great job of disconnecting us from how what we choose to eat every day and how we choose to show up is completely connected to our health and vitality. It's you cannot separate the two, right? But we have separated from them in our mind, okay? We've lost that connection, right? This is your wake-up call now, okay? This is reality. So hopefully, if you are sick of feeling sick and tired, you will now have the internal inspiration to want to eat healthy. You don't need a diet or a personal trainer or someone to tap you on the shoulder every day to remind you you need to do this, right? You will have the fuel inside you. And if you don't have the self-love and self-worth yet enough, we will keep working on that on these calls. Do it for your children, because you are determining your children's potential in life by what you put on the dinner plate. What they eat today, what you eat today, is fueling who you are tomorrow. It is the building blocks of what your body is becoming. So do we want to fuel our children on junk food and limit their potential, their brain growth, their potential of their mind, their emotions, their experience in the world by feeding them low quality of food? Or do we want to maximize their potential by giving them the best, most nutritious food ever, right? That fuels a healthy, growing brain, that helps them to, have a healthy, functioning nervous system. I don't know about you, but when my kids have junk food, they are crazy. Sometimes I think, how many kids are actually just crazy because of the food they eat every day, and they're getting labeled with disorders, behavior disorders? Because I've seen the way my kids behave when they eat too many lollies and colors, and I would label them with a behavior disorder if that's how they showed up every single day. Now, thankfully, I don't give them those foods every day, so I can, disassociate from like, oh, that's who they are. No, that they just ate food that made them behave that way, right? That made their brain behave that way. So I got off track. But anyway, that was a bit of a rant. And I'm sorry if I'm triggering you, but once again, when you get triggered, this is an opportunity to go inside and ask yourself, why am I being triggered? This is something I need to explore, okay? All right, so inspiration is the fuel for your success. So find a way to be inspired, okay, to make healthy changes. Then it won't be constantly you on another diet. You can get off the roller coaster for good. Start counting vitality, not calories. The calorie counting world became a sicker and fatter one because we disassociated the connection of vitality in a food. Instead, we started looking at it as, like, for example, do you really think that a Mars bar and an avocado, let's just say they have the same calorie content. Like, would you really choose a Mars bar over an avocado because it had the same calories and you can eat X amount in a day? Like, is that not just the stupidest thing ever? a Mars bar is not going to fuel, not to say I won't ever eat a Mars bar again, but like my point is, if you're counting calories and you're just trying to get, you know, the yummiest, most delicious food in and enough of it to, you know, to get to a certain calorie count a day and avoid all the healthy food that you can, you are not going to fuel the best version of yourself doing that. Your body will look completely different, even though it's the same numbers. Your mind will function completely differently. Your relationships will look completely differently, right? Oh my goodness, there's someone at my door. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry, guys, they wouldn't stop knocking. So my point is, stop counting calories, right? Because just because a Mars bar and an avocado have the same calories, let's just say they do, right? I'm not sure if they do. You will not get the same result, okay, from eating those two foods. If you're focused on 1,500 calories a day and you eat 1,500 calories in Mars bars versus 1,500 calories in avocados, your whole entire body will look and feel different. So we need to focus on vitality foods, not calories, okay? So incredibly important. And when you do this, your body you become more intuitive and more in touch with the connection of what you eat and how it makes you feel. You eat the Mars bar, you're going to energy spike, you're going to have a massive crash. Your joints might ache like mine do when I eat sugar. You're going to have brain fog. Okay, your body is going to store that sugar and transform it into fat. When you eat an avocado, you're going to have a beautiful sustained energy release because of that healthy fat. It's going to fuel healthy brain function. It's going to make your skin glow. The Mars bar, the sugar in the Mars bar is actually going to damage your skin and accelerate aging. You're going to get beautiful antioxidants from the avocado that's going to make you glow and feel vibrant. It's a completely opposite effect, okay? So don't count calories. It's arduous. You can't sustain it. It's BS. You need to release the need for labels. Unless you are spiritually, emotionally, environmentally very passionate, and I'm certainly not speaking to that. If you're very passionate about being a vegan or a vegetarian, I'm very respectful and admire people who do that for those reasons. So that's not what I'm talking about. But there are so many different diets and labels. Paleo, vegetarian, like everything in between. Keto is the new one. Like there's always going to be a new fad. And, you know, I've tried them all and I was so confused and conflicted because it's such conflicting information. You know, biologically we should eat meat, biologically we shouldn't eat meat. Everyone can prove what they want, okay? Everyone is proving with science how theirs is the best diet. What I found worked for me is I just stopped trying to have to label myself and how I eat, and instead I focus on how I feel. And typically, interestingly, what that looks like is I tend to eat vegetarian in the winter, which you'd think it would be the other way around, but I just love having, you know, that lightness of soups and, you know, just lots of veggies and things in the winter. And then I tend to eat more chicken and fish in the summer with salads. So typically with the seasons, my diet can change dramatically, and that's based on what my body is craving. And because I don't have a lot of junk food, which will put a haze over your ability to eat intuitively because you start having chemical cravings, once you start eating cleanly, you actually can tune into your body and your body will tell you what it needs. And therefore you don't need to count calories because you're in tune with your hunger cycles as well. You know, just because the society says it's breakfast now, it's lunch now, it's dinner now, if you're not hungry because you went out with friends, let's just say you went out with friends, right? I often will go out with friends on the weekend and we'll have a really big lunch at a restaurant and maybe a couple of cocktails and have some fun. Well, there's no way that my body needs more calories at dinner time to have a full meal. But that's what we do. That's how dumb we are, right? And I've done this, right? So I'm not judging. But why would you then go have another full meal when your body's still processing all of the calories that you ate at lunchtime? It doesn't need more fuel. So you're better off just to have a light green smoothie or just a simple green salad to tie you over to the morning. You don't need to add more burden to your digestive system. You want to come in tune with your body. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, wait till you're hungry again. Wow, like what a thought that might be, right? But when you do this, you will find your natural weight set point because you're letting your body burn the fuel before you put more fuel on top of it, right? And so then you don't have an issue with your weight fluctuating, okay? That's what has worked really well for me. And once again, I'm just giving you ideas to think about, and you can see if that sits well with you, okay? Find your bliss. Living with passion is fundamentally connected to your well-being. When you find your purpose, you are busy working that purpose. It leaves less room and time for bored eating, okay? Or trying to fulfill yourself by eating a chocolate bar because you're not living a fulfilling existence, okay? It's short-term pleasure, but we know that it doesn't lead to long-term happiness. When you find your divine gifts in life and you start sharing them with the world, you feel filled up and fulfilled. You don't start eating emotional. You don't need to, what's it called? Emotional eating, okay? I used to do a lot of that. I hated my job. I would love to have my mid-morning chocolate bar, my afternoon fix of something chocolate, right? I was just always in search of that little moment of happiness because my life sucked. I didn't enjoy my experience every single day. And once again, you're in control of that. You can do whatever the hell you want in this world with your life. Okay, you really do have the choice. And if you're not happy where you are, then start making progress to changes. Start at least exploring possibilities. Your life might not turn over overnight, but at least start exploring and thinking and dreaming and trying new things, trying new hobbies, making new friends with people who are maybe living, who seem to be happier or have the things that you would want. Then you get to learn from those people, all right? Your adversity will be your opportunity. Me feeling sick and exhausted and like I was dying, rather than victimizing myself, what I could have done is, I have chronic fatigue, therefore I can never work again. I'm a victim to it. I've got no responsibility over it. The doctor told me he's just going to keep giving me the pills, and my life is over now, and I'm going to be a victim to chronic fatigue, right? Instead of that adversity became my opportunity. I got up, I did the research, I created the change. It led to the most passionate, fulfilling, and healthy life I have ever known because I chose opportunity. So when shitty things happen to us, like last year, most challenging year for me ever, still moving through it, but I'm choosing to see this as an opportunity to have the best second chapter of my life ever. That this will be the biggest gift that I've ever been given, because I get to start fresh. I get to do a better job. I get to be a better me. I get to fill my own cup. I have this second chance. We get to choose that outlook and the meaning that we give things. You really do have that choice. Finding balance. Okay, health is a lifestyle. It's not a destination. You don't get healthy in 8 weeks and then go back to your old choices. Okay, it's so what? If you have chocolate cake today at lunchtime, it's your next choice that counts, guys. Okay, you will make crappy decisions because sometimes you just have to have fun with life, right? And I really love to have fun with life, especially when it comes to food. It's your next choice that counts. If you choose to go off the rails because you enjoyed a moment, okay, stop seeing a moment as failure and see it as, that was so worth it, that moment with friends, that connection, that delicious meal. It was such a fulfilling moment. And my next choice, I'm going to make one for health. My next choice is going to be a beautiful green smoothie to balance out that amazing afternoon that I just experienced with my friends. And then the next choice after that, I'm going to have a beautiful fresh salad. You know, it's finding that balance and that rhythm rather than the constant, like, you're on, you're off of a diet. Oh, I failed again because I had one bad thing, you know, because I'm living life, right? It's the way that you set yourself up in your mindset around it will really determine your success long term. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about, actually, let me just quickly cover postnatal depletion, and then I want to get onto mental health, which I think is important for everybody, whether you associate yourself as someone who has, you know, anxiety or depression, or just someone who, you know, sometimes you have low energy and you're a little bit lacking in inspiration. So when I got well, within a matter of months, I fell pregnant unexpectedly with Jordan. And so because I had lived for several years on a very depleted diet, mainly made up of sugar-laden foods, although I had gotten all of the bad bacteria out of my body and I was, you know, bringing back some balance into my body and health, I was still very depleted. You can't, you know, I couldn't possibly have filled up, you know, my vitality that quickly with all my nutritional needs. So then I fell pregnant, and, you know, when we grow a living being in our bodies, and we will put that child before our own needs. And a good example of this, and this made me feel so good because I had the worst baby brain ever when I had Jordan. And I remember watching Oprah one day, and she had a doctor on that was talking about literal brain shrinkage when a woman is pregnant, because the healthy fats from our brain will be sacrificed for the baby to grow its brain. And so we sacrifice some of that goodness, and that's why we then experience symptoms of like memory loss and that whole baby brain effect, which can also be attributed to postnatal depression. So that made me feel really good that it wasn't all in my head. But so we are giving up all this nutritional value to grow this human being. Not only are we going into pregnancy severely depleted, but we are then not consciously replenishing ourselves once we give birth. And if you back up birth with breastfeeding, it's a double whammy, because your body is also going to sacrifice that goodness to fuel that baby through the breast milk. Can you guys just let me know if the internet is working okay? Wait, what just happened? Sorry, guys. Oh, there we are. Okay, it is. So I believe postnatal depletion is a plague of modern society. I think women are completely disconnected from it. It's an old wisdom that used to be taught. And in fact, if you go into other cultures, the Chinese culture does a really incredible job of making sure the mother is nourished after birth and takes time out. You know, we live in a society where it's like, you get a medal if you're on your feet as soon as you've given birth, and you should be cleaning the house and cooking meals. You know, I was grateful I had an incredible midwife that instructed me to not stand up unless I need to pee for 2 weeks, and Adam had to do all of the housekeeping to allow for my pelvic floor to heal against gravity, and you know, just for my body to recuperate. Yet we have this whole, like, you know, you can do it, you're strong. Like, it's madness. Once again, when you start looking into this stuff, you realize how ridiculous our society sees certain things. But yeah, we need to be conscious of taking care of the mother, of replenishing, because I did experience postnatal depression after having Jordan. And after my research and having the right natural health care around me, we uncovered that it was actually postnatal depletion that was leading to postnatal depression symptoms. So I didn't need medication. I needed nutrition in my body. And when I changed my diet again, but now more nourishing with lots of healthy fats and lots of the good things that my body needed, the postnatal depression cleared up quickly. There was also some lifestyle factors that I changed. So support, there's things like having enough support and emotional support, which are obviously really important as well. But once again, once you find yourself in these situations, rather than thinking a pill or a potion is the only thing that's going to cure you, it's not curing anything, it's only masking things. And, you know, even if that is essential in the really worst case scenarios at the time, making sure that you're also on the other side fixing the things that led you to that place, so that at least in the future you can create healing over time. Okay, so it's that self-responsibility again. And you know, and I was so blessed to have this knowledge going into my second pregnancy, because I didn't experience those fluctuations, because I had the right tools and the right nutrition to make sure that I didn't go down that pathway again. Okay, once again, I'm not saying this is the scenario for everybody. I just am putting the thought out there so that you can ask yourself, what is your truth? Okay, I'm not saying this is your truth. Okay. All right, so how cool is this? This is another thing I want to talk about, is the importance of moving your body. Your body is designed to move, okay? This was pretty cool. 15 minutes of fun exercise a day has the equivalent effect of on the body biochemically as taking an antidepressant. Let me say that again. 15 minutes of fun exercise a day has the equivalent, biochemically speaking, effect on the body as taking an antidepressant, except it's natural, it's free, and your body was designed to do it. Like, is that just not mind-blowing? And this is the thing. And I'm not talking to mothers who have just given birth, who need to nurture their body, who are physically exhausted, who don't need to be out there pounding the pavement. But this is the thing. When you feel crap and low energy, the only way to create energy is with energy. You've got to eat energizing foods that have an energetic vibration to them, which is living fruits and veggies. They have an energetic vibration to them. As soon as you cook food, the energy dies, right? The energy goes into the water, right? Energy is always existing, but it flows into something else, okay? So when you eat energizing foods like life-giving raw fruits and veggies, that creates energy. Have you ever, you know, when you look at, you know, someone who eats healthy, they have a light that emits from their face. They have a vibration, right? Because the vibration of that food becomes the vibration of them, right? Same with exercise. If you want to feel energy, you have to use energy. You've got to create energy through movement. So sometimes it's when we don't feel like it the most, is when we have to get up and move. And I'm not saying that you have to go full force. If you truly are tired, go for a gentle walk. And I'm going to talk to the stay-at-home mums now, because I understand that mums who are working full-time, this is a whole nother conversation for you. And I still believe you can set yourself up for success, but I have a lot more compassion for you if you're working full-time and juggling a family. I was a stay-at-home mum until, you know, my online business. I was just a stay-at-home mum. And yes, there's a million things that we need to do every day. And yes, it's like having 3 full-time jobs. But the truth is, if you're not exercising, it's not because you don't have the time. It's because you're not making the time. You know, you can get out for a walk to the park with your kids every day. It will nourish everybody involved, mentally and physically. You can join a gym. I would go to the gym every single morning, whether I felt like it or not. If I was really tired, I'd just sit in the sauna, but at least I got out for an hour for myself. We had limited finances at the time, but it was a high value of mine to take care of myself, because mentally I was able to show up better for my kids. I was less triggered, less snarky at my kids, you know, all the things that actually impact them massively emotionally. We need to take responsibility for our state. And one of the best ways to cultivate a peaceful, happy state in your home is to take care of yours, and exercise is part of that. You know, it doesn't matter how old your baby is, there are gyms that have a creche. And you've got to stop making up excuses for why you don't have the time or resources. Okay, there are, you know, walking with the pram, joining a gym, whatever it is, that look, yoga, just playing with the kids, you know, that whatever resonates with you, swimming, you want to find something that fills you up with joy as well. You know, I love going to the gym, and I'm about to make a lot of 15-minute fit mummy videos for you guys, so that you can truly do this in 15 minutes at home with your kids on top of me. That's what I used to do. Maddie used to climb all over me, and I'd train for 15 minutes at home. You know, I go to the gym now, not because I need to exercise for an hour. I know how to do the same thing and get the same result in 15 minutes, but I actually love having a little gossip to the, you know, the girls that I meet at the gym. And, you know, I love being just the environment and the energy of it. It's actually soul nourishing for me. For some of you, it's not. So find something that is, okay? Your body was designed to move. if you want mental health, if you want to decrease anxiety, if you want to decrease depression, get your butt up, get out in the sunshine and move your body. Everybody knows how to walk. Every single one of you can walk for an hour a day. Okay, you don't need a personal trainer to teach you how to do that. Happiness is a choice. I listened to an incredible podcast today, and scientifically they are proving that happiness is a choice. Simply smiling for 10 seconds releases dopamine in the blood. You know, how many of you go through your whole day without smiling? I read another incredible quote that the average 4-year-old laughs 300 times a day. The average 40-year-old laughs 4 times a day. Does that, again, not blow your mind and show you children look for magic, which creates joy, whereas adults just become so pessimistic? And it's a choice. You know, choose to smile and laugh with your kids. You know, choose to smile when your husband comes home. Once again, you're responsible for cultivating a loving, connected relationship with your partner. We've got to stop blaming them for things not being happy, rainbows, and bliss. You're only in control of you. How do you show up? You know, for me, it's like I would brush my hair and put my makeup on when I knew he was coming home, right? Not because why should I? I don't have to. But if you advertise that at the beginning of your relationship, that you take care of yourself, then why would you stop taking care of yourself, right? It's false advertising, right? We are responsible for how we show up. Show up your best self for the people that you love, your significant other and your children. Laugh, be happy, be responsible for your state and how you show up, because that impacts the quality of your relationships. It impacts the quality of your relationship, most importantly, with yourself. Have enough self-respect that even if you're not leaving the house, that you don't have to get dressed up, to the nines, but brush your hair and make yourself feel good in the morning. Just put 5 minutes of effort in of self-care so that you feel good about yourself, and not in a vain way, in a self-love way. When you choose loving actions towards yourself each day, you cultivate self-love, and you've got to put yourself first and take time in your day for yourself, because you will show up better for others. And this is another tip that I wanted to give you guys today, is you've got to schedule time for yourself. You've got to allow your partner to schedule time for himself, and you've got to schedule time for your kids every single week, and you've got to work together on making that happen. When I look at my schedule, I have my time blocked out every day, and it's a non-negotiable. Nothing gets in the way, and the only priority that can get in the way of it, if the kids have something on that they need me for, then obviously I'm flexible. But I say no to everything that comes up in that time, because it's time for me. And you want to gift your partner the same thing. When are you going to let them go out and do the thing that fills their cup without bitching and nagging about it? You both had independent, fulfilling lives before you became, a couple. You have to allow each other the freedom and the space to be themselves and do the things that they love. And I think women are terrible, and I've been this in the past, at controlling and criticizing and nagging, and it's the most unattractive thing that we do that has a massive negative effect on our relationships. If you gift your partner the time to nourish them, then hopefully they will be more than happy to gift you the time to have time out for you during the week from the kids as well. And then you also need to schedule time together, whether it starts out as an hour a week. And once again, be resourceful. Find a friend that you can do a date night swap with. Someone will do a date night swap with you. Stop, and you don't have to go on a date that costs money. Stop with the excuses. Set yourself up for success. Create connection with your significant other every week. Give each other time out every week, lovingly, and have a date time with your children at least once a month, but every week if possible. And you may not be able to do all of these things overnight, but work towards success in these areas. Start setting yourself up for success and creating changes you need in your life to make this happen, okay? And for example, and same thing, if you hate your job, then start thinking about what else you could do. Start researching. You're not trapped. You're not lacking control. You're not destined to this fate. You can make changes whenever you want in your life. All right. Posture. How do you carry yourself every single day? You know, I'm someone, when I'm low energy, I'm like this, and I did a post on this last week. This closes in your energy, okay? When you open your heart, this allows energy to flow in, your energy flows out. This is why I do a lot of heart opening stretches every single day, especially if you're on your phone or computer all day, you're training your posture to close in. Now, interestingly, this has a energetic consequence to how you connect energetically to the people around you. So if your posture is closed in, then this impacts your ability to connect with the people around you, so you'll be more closed off. And this might be a little bit of TMI, but what I've found is, you know, when I go and practice yoga, and it was funny, there was a period of my life where I was getting up early in the morning and I was practicing yoga in the morning rather than the afternoon. And every morning when I'd come home, I'd be more physically open and, you know, desired more intimacy because my body was open and flexible. And, you know, when you're open, that's when, you know, you're open to receiving. It's very feminine. It's very in flow. So if you're someone who is closed off all the time to your partner, making sure that, you know, your physical alignment and working on that and stretching and opening and meditating on being open and being in flow is really powerful as well, whether it's for creating connection or and it may not even be with your significant other, it might just be with friends and family, but also letting energy into your life is really important. And once again, that's something that you can control. Managing your state. So coming back to, you know, smile. If you're feeling down, put a big smile on your face, you know, create moments to laugh. You know, go and watch the trainings that I did on my YouTube around how to take control of your state, how to cultivate a beautiful state every single day. And just to quickly remind you of what this is all about, you're either living in I consciousness, which is suffering, which is choice, right? We choose to suffer. Suffering is going to happen, right? Suffering is life, but we can train our mind how to deal with that suffering. If you are the victim mentality, I, focused on yourself all the time, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not good enough, I'm not perfect enough, I'm not pretty enough, I, you will suffer all day long, and so will everybody else around you. Your children will pick up on this. You will train your children to think that way. Your children will be uncomfortable in your presence because your state impacts their energy. So we need to learn how to cultivate a beautiful state, okay? And you are in control of managing that. And that is one consciousness, where you are open, present, and connected. When you connect with others, you're out of your head, which is I, you're in your heart, and this is a beautiful space of gratitude and peace where the suffering subsides, and you can train yourself how to do that, okay? What else? Living with passion, I've spoken about that. So I guess what I want to finish with is, you know, I hope what this call does is has you reflect on your choices up until today, not with judgment, with awareness. Judgment is completely useless. It's not resourceful. It's not going to help you. We all have made mistakes. We all could have done better and made better choices. That's part of life. And, you know, when we don't do the best job, that adversity is our opportunity. It's our gift. The wrong choices I've made in the past were my gift. So don't look at it as judgment. Embrace it. Be grateful for it, because right now you get to direct the rest of your future. So reflect on your choices to create awareness, and, you know, ask yourself, are those choices taking you down a path of happiness and vitality in your best life ever? Or are they, you know, producing negative results in your life, whether it's how you function mentally or physically, energetically, whatever that might be, in your relationships, in your parenting? You know, is it positive or is it going to have a negative impact? And just start to take responsibility. You know, start to do your own research, start to tune into your own choices and your own body, and just start to make choices one at a time. You know, let me know in the comments, what are you going to change after today's chat? You know, is it going to be something about, you know, your nutrition? Is it going to be that you're just going to add a walk every morning or afternoon or middle of the day, whether it's with your kids in the pram or whatever it might be? You know, just resource yourself. And you're going to do that for 7 days straight and see how it makes you feel. See the impact over time. Now, some of the changes that you make might make you feel crappy initially, right? For example, if all of a sudden you overhaul your diet, your body might go through a detox. When you have a candida overgrowth in your body, when the bad bacteria start to die off because of the herbal supplements and the diet changes that you make, you actually go through a really bad detox phase where you feel worse, but you need to go through that to get it out of your system to come back to a healthy place. So depending on the changes that you're going to make, just, obviously you want to be, give it time and be, just have healthy expectations. But, if you're not exercising at all and you add a daily walk into your day every day for the next 7 days, I guarantee you will feel a dramatic result mentally and physically after 7 days, right? So let me know in the comments, what was the one thing that stood out to you from this chat? What's the one new healthy habit that you're going to make this week? And maybe each week you add a new one in. Okay, maybe you're just going to choose one healthy recipe, and every week you're going to add a new healthy recipe to your repertoire of how to cook. So rather than dramatically overhauling everyone's diet overnight, you're just going to slowly introduce one new thing at a time. And, over the next few months, the whole diet is going to have an overhaul, but it's going to be with ease, grace, and flow. It's not going to stress you out. It's not going to be too dramatic for everyone's taste buds, and everyone will be happy and excited to be on board. So what is that one thing that you're going to do? So just want to remind you, next week, we have Dr. Russell coming on, who is a medical doctor. So I'm really excited to have the backing of a medical professional who is going to come and share about how to, the steps that you can take to naturally decrease things like anxiety in your life. He's overhauled his own life with these principles and helped many, many people do the same. It's going to be phenomenal. So whether you experience anxiety just time to time as a normal, life, that sometimes you experience stress, it's going to be very resourceful for you. If you're someone who's currently on medication, it is going to be dramatically life-changing information for you. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me, everyone. And I really look forward to hearing your feedback. And if these are the kind of topics that you'd also like to hear on. I truly believe that this is the foundation of a happy life. Like, this is actually more important than the other stuff we spoke about, because if you're not creating, a healthy environment in your body, it's not possible to feel happy and healthy and passionate and inspired and empowered in life anyway. So this is the foundation. This is the building blocks. Thanks for joining me, everyone. And I'll have this recording up on our YouTube channel. I hope you guys subscribe and make sure you add yourself to the Empowered Women's group as well. Have a great day, everyone.